This is the High School Football America podcast for May the 27th, 2021. I'm Jeff Fisher. The High School Football America podcast is brought to you by GameStrat, America's premier sideline instant replay system with outstanding reliability and faster speed than Huddle Sideline. Plus, GameStrat has awesome customer service along with different plans priced right for every coach's budget. And right now, you can get tremendous discounts by going to GameStrat.com. To get a demo, go to GameStrat.com or click on the GameStrat banner ad located on every page of highschoolfootballamerica.com. All right. Normally I say I'm heading to some part of the country, but right now I'm heading to a guy that's riding in his car, driving in his car. Before I rolled the tape here, I think he said he's almost in Georgia, coming out of South Carolina. I used to call him Joe from Prep Gridiron Logistics, but now we're going to call him Joe Maimone. Reveal that name. He's no longer Madonna, no longer Cher, none of those one-named people. And boy, did they have some big news this week. Prep Gridiron Logistics teaming up for 4 years with FloSports to broadcast hundreds of hours of high school football, hundreds of games over the next 4 years into 2024. Today on High School Football America, we released the schedule, nearly 30 games. It will be right around 30 by the time we're all said and done for this year. It's got 36 teams in the High School Football America preseason 300, and Joe from his car joins us right now. Thanks for taking the time, Joe, and be safe, and we'll just say right now, you're on hands-free. We know that.
That's right, Jeff. Thanks for having me, and just so you know, I started yesterday. I'm going through my 6th state, on my way to state number 7, and finally, when I get to Florida, it'll be state number 8.
Nice, and be safe and enjoy your Memorial Day holiday weekend. And boy, like I said, what a week it's been for you. Known this for a couple of weeks. You gave me a call, and I appreciate the call you gave me. And I was just so excited for you. You've been on here before, and what you've been talking about is your company and how for the better part of 5-6 years you've been putting together some of the marquee matchups around the nation in high school football. And that's led to you and FloSports getting together. I love the schedule. We'll get to it in a second. But talk a little bit from the 30,000-foot view, what happened, how it's happening, and what you're going to be doing over the next 4 years with Flo.
Yeah, well, you know, I was always in the business of matching up out-of-state teams together. That's why we started the company back in 2015. Flo came to me, and we had agreed upon a lot of our philosophies were the same, and they believe that the game of high school football at the highest and most elite levels could be grown as much as I do. So we got together, and we have a 4-year deal now. Our priorities are going to be interstate matchups. You know, we love California, Texas, or New Jersey, Ohio, or Georgia, Florida, or Maryland, Ohio. Those are always going to be our first priority because that's what I did as a promoter for all these 6 years. The second priority in assembling our schedule annually will be local and regional rivalry matchups. Bergen Catholic, Don Bosco, Coleraine, X, games like those, Valdosta Lowndes. So, yeah, that's the formula we have right now. It's great to have the support of FloSports. We're literally in the next 4 years, it's my goal and my company's goal. We're going to be infusing and investing a minimum of $500,000 into the sport of high school football at the top levels.
Yeah, I love that. And folks, if you've never heard Joe with us here on the podcast before, what he's been doing up until this point with Prep Gridiron Logistics is these matchups that he's putting together. He doesn't take a cent for it. I mean, he's just a fan of the game. I don't know if that's disrespectful, but I mean, really, Joe, just like I'm a fan of the game, right? You do what's good to promote it, and you've done that. And you've kind of taken that philosophy into this, and that's why, $500,000, that's a lot of ka-ching going into the sport. Talk a little bit about that for the fans, what that really means, because I know, again, just like what it was like when it was putting together games for you, it's coming from the heart. It's coming about making the game better.
Yeah, I mean, the funds that I'm getting, the large majority of the funds I'm getting, I'm keeping a very small administrative fee, and the rest of the funds are going to the host teams of these matchups. And they could use those money, number one, to put back into their school in general, number two, to put back in their athletic department, or number three, to help pay the travel stipend of the visiting team. And what we're doing is, and what's really cool about it is, we're incentivizing them to book the best competitors they can. For instance, if we rank each game that we're scheduling, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. If I put together what we consider a 3-star game, which is a good, okay matchup, the team is getting X amount of money, if you will. Mm-hmm. However, if they bring a brand team that's well known around the country, like a Mater Dei, IMG, St. Francis, St. John Bosco, De La Salle, they're getting more money to host that team. So we're not only are we incentivizing out-of-state matchups, interstate matchups, we're incentivizing that when you're going to do these matchups, book the best team money can buy, because you're going to be getting more money from Flo and PGL than you would if you were booking, say, an average team, a lower-ranked team.
I just love the idea. Talking with Joe Maimone from Prep Gridiron Logistics, again, earlier this week, announcing, I should say, the launch of a great 4-year deal between PGL and FloSports. 30 games on the schedule. If you want, if you want to go to highschoolfootballamerica.com, you can look at the preliminary schedule. And again, this could change. You know how things are these days. Last year we thought we were going to have a football season that was normal. It wasn't. But check it out. And Joe, we had you on here, a couple of months ago, maybe a month and a half ago, talking about the marquee matchups, the ones that you helped put together. And we went 1 through 10. I'm just curious, out of this schedule here, is there a game or two that you're just like, man, I love that this is going to be, something we're producing on Flo?
Well, the games that excite me the most are, one of the first clients I've had was IMG. They're probably the toughest team to schedule out there. So the games that we have on our schedule now, I'm looking most forward to. We have them playing at LaSalle in Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. We also have them playing a public power that not many people know about from Massachusetts, Springfield Central. We also have St. Francis on the schedule a few times. We're trying to get more California. We're talking with St. John Bosco now to get one of their away games on, but they're all good. If you look at that schedule, there's really not much missing from it. If you look at the top games being played around America, I'd say 80% of them are on our schedule. And like you said, the schedule is very dynamic. There are games still coming in, and some games may not make it when all said and done, quite honestly, because there's contracts that need to be signed. And so the demand is there. Our goal is this year to stream 30 games, and by year 4, have that number up over 100.
Amazing. I love that. I love the aggressiveness, too, that you're doing. And if you're just a plain football fan, and there's a lot of them out there, the national rankings through the years after USA Today started in the 80s, it kind of created a national fan base, as you and I both know. I mean, you're going to have everybody in there. 36 of the teams, as I said at the top, already in the High School Football America 300 are preseason for 2021. You kind of touched on this, but I was just curious. You're obviously going to continue making the marquee matchups, right? And I would think that this new little venture here for you is going to make that a lot easier, right? It should dovetail together. Is that accurate to say?
Yeah, I mean, what was great this time around, when Flo contacted me, they said, what do you think? You think you could do a minimum of 25 games year 1? And literally within 3 days, I had the 25 games because I'd already put them together behind the scenes, just had the matchups done. Yeah. The hard part was, having to employ a lawyer now to create a contract between me and the teams and get that done. So we did it, and it's looking good right now. One point I did want to make is, we keep harping on, I'm a big fan of your polls and the top 300, and I for the most part like to deal with the top 1 or 2 percenters in the game. I just think that attracts the largest audience. But we are in the business now of also helping teams that are lesser known catapult themselves into national relevance and notoriety. In the past, we've supported the Life Christians of the world, who went down to Texas last year and beat Cibolo Steel. Bishop Sycamore is on our radar this year. It's a great team out of the Columbus, Ohio. They have currently 29 D1 recruits on their 2021 roster. So a lot of fans listening right now may not know who they are, but these are the teams that we're trying to build, and 5 years from now, it's our goal that teams like Bishop Sycamore, Clearwater Academy, Life Christian, these teams are household names. If we do our job well, they will be.
Yeah, and because I'm gonna play a little devil's advocate here, but you and I always do this when we're off the air. You're mentioning a lot of private schools, but what I love about this list is it's got great diversity to it. For example, September 3rd, Myers Park, great program out of North Carolina against Buford. You've got programs like that. You've got American Fork out of Utah there. Miami Central out of Florida. You mentioned the Georgia teams, the Lowndes, the Lee County, Milton. It's just really cool, and I was just curious about your philosophy in putting together a broadcast schedule like this. I mean, obviously you want the elite on there because that brings the fans in general, but I know you also love the publics.
We do, yeah, we do. If you look at the schedule, we have a lot of publics sprinkled in there. You got to remember, when I started this company back in 2015, I honestly, in my heart of hearts, I started it to help the privates,
right?
The elite privates that were having a really hard time getting their schedules completed every year. If you remember, I said my son went to Don Bosco Prep in New Jersey during their heyday when they were winning MNCs, 2-3 years. After that, it was almost impossible for them to create a schedule, and nobody would play them. They were afraid. I mean, when you beat, De La Salle twice, St. Thomas Aquinas twice, people, don't answer your calls after a while. So we started the company purely because of them. They were my first client. First deal I ever did was a home-and-home with them against Moeller. And again, we got Archbishop Rummel from New Orleans to come up and play him. And from that point on, I said, you know what? If Bosco's having this trouble, other teams need to. And fast forward 6 years. As of this morning when I checked, we have 312 teams signed up as clients on our website.
That's beautiful. Joe Maimone from Prep Gridiron Logistics, a 4-year deal announced earlier this week with FloSports to live stream nearly 30 football games this year. And as you heard him just say a moment ago, by year 4, 100 a year. That's incredible. And we just talked about the public and the private. And then you've got some really great public-private matchups. Your first game, August 20th, Alemany out of California versus Lone Peak from Utah. That's a great one. You got Life Christian Academy. They're from Virginia. You just talked about them. Godby out of Florida, a great program there. Just want to go down the list. Brookwood from Georgia, American Heritage Plantation, Florida. Love that one. I mean, you've got some really great public-private matchups. I don't want to miss any. American Fork versus Gardena Sarah. That's a good one there for you. And Milton versus St. Joseph's Prep. I live close to Milton, and I'm a Pennsylvania guy, so I'm waiting for that one. But this is great. I love that.
That one was for you, my friend. That one was for you. And Milton has the number one recruit in the entire class of 23. So I can't wait for that game. I'm going to be driving down from my home down to Philly. I would never miss that game. It's awesome. And the great thing about this is, for those who aren't familiar with Flo, they're known for their wrestling channel. Everybody in the world of wrestling, lives and dies by the Flo Wrestling Channel. So my goal is in 4 years to have the Flo High School Football Channel be as popular as their wrestling channel. And we're going to do so. It's going to be real high quality, these games. We're going to have 3 camera people on site, 1 at the 50 going from left to right. We're going to have 2 on either sidelines getting close-ups. And every game, for the most part, is going to be broadcast virtually by 2 reputable play-by-play announcers in the Flo studios down in Austin, Texas. We're going to have replays. When you get on these games, when you're joining the game midway, you're going to be able to know what the score is, how much time's on the clock, and how much time's left in the game. If you look at the other quote unquote streamers out there, and I've been watching them for many years, it's really inferior to what we're going to be putting out. So we're most proud about that. Flo brings a great quality and reputation of execution on game nights.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And when you mentioned, Flo and its wrestling coverage, as having been a part of the National High School Coaches Association, which holds its national championships. As a matter of fact, tomorrow starts the National Duels in Virginia Beach, and Flow Wrestling will be doing them. I'm very well aware of their quality and their commitment to the sport, so it's a great partnership for you. I'm just so happy, for you. I think we've covered everything, but since you're driving there, you still got a couple of hours till you get to your hotel in Florida. Anything I missed that you want to add here?
No, just that we're gonna continue to be matchmakers. That's at the core of what we do. So if anybody's interested in 2022 finding quality out-of-state opponents, you could still contact us through our website, gridironlogistics.com. If you have games this year that you think are relevant, nationally relevant, you're hosting either a big-time rival of yours or a well-known out-of-state team, and you want to see if you could generate revenue to do so, it's very simple. All we need that night is access to Wi-Fi, electricity, and guidance of our 3 camera people that'll be there. The rest is simple.
Yeah, no, it's just wonderful, and I was going to end on that, but you just made me think about something when you were talking there about if you're looking for games in 2022 already, which you should be doing, right? If you have trouble scheduling, you better be thinking about that right now before the start of the 2021 season. But I've been noticing on Twitter a lot of teams are losing some games here and there. I know when I was putting together the algorithm, and that's why our top 300 is still kind of in flex until the 100. Some big teams are still looking for games. I guess my question would be, what's your thought on what's happening there? Are we heading down a road? I know you're here to try and put together 10-game regular seasons and all that, but are we going to see some of these teams that aren't the independents like the IMGs or the Life Christian Academies, having trouble filling up a 10-game schedule? Is that a fair question to ask you right now?
Listen, it'll always be a problem with privates. I just got a call from a small school in South Carolina, a private collegiate school, a Trinity Collegiate School out of Darlington, South Carolina. I actually passed their exit a couple hours ago when I was driving on the 95, and they're having the same problem. They're starting to dominate their state, and nobody will play them anymore. So I said, welcome to the family. We signed them up, and anybody who wins a lot of games and they're private, you're going to have a hard time. Even teams who are public, like the Corona Centennials of the world, have a hard time annually filling a schedule because they're so good. And a lot of, every team that's a client of ours, we all live by the same mantra. To be the best, you have to play the best. Yeah. You're going to go anywhere and play anyone and do so. So if you don't have that mentality, quite honestly, don't bother contacting us, because we're never going to schedule you guaranteed wins. We're going to match you up with teams that are as good as you, and the outcome will never be decided ahead of the game, the whistle starting the game. That's just the way we see things, and we know high school football fans want to see those games instead of 50-0 blowouts on national TV.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And since I have you as a captive audience there on I-95 right now, one more question for you. You hit me up earlier this week. I think it was on LinkedIn. You sent me the article about what's happening in basketball. I know we've just gone off the football level, but it leads me to the question, if there's a private league being formed, an interstate league, if you will, in high school basketball, and our good friend at Paramount is the commissioner of the league. I was just curious, do you think that's something that football would ever go to, where you have a lot of these powers forming an association? I know they tried it several years ago and it failed, but I'm just curious your philosophy now that basketball has gone that route with IMG.
You know what? Just the fact that one sport got it done with all those elites. I actually sent that article when it came out. I sent it to Mater Dei, St. John Bosco, De La Salle, all the Jersey privates, St. Joe's Prep in Philly, IMG, St. Francis, Life Christian, all the teams, all the privates that are considered similar to those basketball schools. And I said, guys, food for thought. If this is being done on the basketball side, there's no way we can't do it eventually. Mm-hmm. So, it's been tried. I told you in the past, I've had conversations with some people, the Endeavor people and with IMG about trying to do something similar. It hasn't happened yet, and the obstacle will always be the two great high school football states of Texas and Florida. I'm sorry, Texas and California. Florida would be number 3, but those two states have such a stranglehold. The governing bodies there limit, what the teams can do in these terms. So we're going to try our damnedest to get to that level. And our friend who's the commissioner for basketball, I already told him when the time comes, I want to be commissioner for the football league.
You're going to become the Roger Goodell with booze. High school football. Joe Maimone, boo! I can already hear it. But yeah, I should say Rashid Ghazi at Paragon. I shouldn't leave his name out of there. He's a good friend of ours and a good supporter of High School Football America. Well, Joe, I think I'll let you get back to the paying attention there. I appreciate you taking the time as always. Congratulations, first and foremost, on this, and we look forward to promoting the games and doing all we can to do what you're doing, which is make sure that these games are publicized and America knows how wonderful this sport is. So again, congrats, safe travels the rest of the way, happy Memorial Day, and I know we'll be talking soon.
All right, happy Memorial Day to all your listeners out there, and Jeff, thanks for all you do for the great game of high school football.
The High School Football America podcast is brought to you by the great new app, Small Player, Big Play, an age-appropriate, sports-focused social media platform designed to showcase and connect young athletes, parents, coaches, and friends. On Small Player, Big Play, young athletes have the ability to utilize the app and share interest and accomplishments in this safe and highly secure social media environment. It features live streaming with game day highlights and lucrative fundraising opportunities for your team. Download the Small Player Big Play app on Google Play and the Apple App Store. That's the High School Football America podcast, and I'm Jeff Fisher.